In week 1, we're talking about how we don't rejoice at any evil, which means we don't lean towards the evil. Now, evil means anything that comes from malice and rottenness. That's what the word says. That's what the word actually means. Something that's rotten, something that's got malice in it. Malice is something that is intended to hurt you, often words that are said, but it can be circumstances, this word evil too. So, how do we not lean towards those circumstances in other people and ourselves and the world around us, but also be patient, because it also says that love is patient. Now, the word love in this passage that we're talking about in 1 Corinthians 13 is the word agape. People have often said that's God's love, but what it really means is it's a choosing love. It's not a feeling. You may feel completely different, but it's I choose to prefer to do this thing. It's a preferring love. It means I prefer your good over my own. I prefer to behave like this. I choose to behave like this, even though I don't feel like it. When I was younger, a friend of mine was getting married, and I said to her, "Do you love him?" She said, "Well, love is not always a feeling. It's a choice. I choose to clean for him, to cook for him," because she believed a woman should be subservient. It's not really about whether you believe a woman should be subservient or not. It's about love in any circumstance. I might not always choose to look after myself, but I do it because, well, I'm responsible for myself, and God said, love others and love yourself. I might not always feel like feeding my dogs, but I do it because I love them. I might not always feel like helping a friend, but I do it because they're my friend and we sacrifice for those we love. Agape love is like that. Jesus did not feel like dying on the cross for me, but he chose to because he loved his Father. And he said, "Father, your will be done, not mine." And the Father's will is that none should be useless, but all should receive the life of God. And the only way we could receive it again was to have a sacrifice. It was to have Jesus die so we know not even death will separate us from his love. So we could be reconciled back to God. So the price of us giving up that life and that relationship in the beginning was fully paid for. When somebody gives up on you, turns their back on you, forsakes you, and chooses something other than you, you can feel like they need to do something to put this right. You can't just walk back into my life when you've done that. Well, that's exactly what it was like. But God didn't feel that. The word for being reconciled in the Bible, there's two words. One of them is that you need to be reconciled, and the other one is they want you to be reconciled and they don't have a problem with you. The word for not needing to have you do anything was always used for God. He just wanted you back. But the word for needing to be reconciled, the word for having a problem that needs to be fixed, was always used for humans. I'd like to talk about a passage, and this passage comes from the Gospels. It comes from John chapter 8. Now listen, if you can, carefully to this story. You will have heard it before. It's the woman who's caught in adultery. It says, Jesus returned to the Mount of Olives, but early the next morning, he was back again at the temple. A crowd soon gathered and he sat down and taught them. He was speaking, and the teachers of the religious law and the Pharisees brought a woman who had been caught in the act of adultery, and they put her in front of the crowd. Now, as a side note, the law that the Jewish people held to, that was originally given by God to Moses, said that anybody caught in adultery, especially the woman, should be stoned to death. So they said, "Teacher," to Jesus, "this woman was caught in the very act of adultery. The law of Moses says that we should stone her. What do you say?" They were trying to trap him into saying something that they could use against him, but Jesus stooped down and wrote in the dust with his finger. They kept demanding an answer, so he stood up again and said, "All right, let it be the one of you who has not sinned that throws the first stone at her." And then he stooped down again and he wrote in the dust. When the accusers heard this, they slipped away one by one, beginning with the oldest until only Jesus was left in the middle of the crowd with the woman. Then Jesus stood up again and said to the woman, "Where are your accusers? Didn't even one of them condemn you?" "No, Lord," she said. And Jesus said, "Neither do I. Go and sin no more." What I'd like to point out about this scripture is just some very quick and brief things. The woman had done the thing that should have meant she should be stoned. But Jesus didn't shout at her. Jesus did not point it out to her. Jesus did not expose her. Jesus did not ridicule her. And Jesus wasn't the one snooping to catch her in the act. Do I do that to others? Am I patient, which means to endure? It means to have patience, to suffer the thing, rather than snooping around trying to find them. Pick on them when you see them doing it. Tell them what God's law is. Do I do that to others? And do I do it to myself? Do I keep questioning myself? Am I right? Am I right? Am I right? Because Jesus made us righteous. But Jesus actually stoops down and writes in the sand. Now, some people believe that was him saying, "I wrote the law with my own finger because I'm God." And other people say Jesus practiced the pause. He knelt down and he was writing, just giving a pause for a minute. We don't know what he drew in the sand, but we know that he didn't respond straight away. He took his time. Do I take my time? Do I have patience with myself and take my time with others when they do something? I mean, Jesus was in the middle of teaching and they burst in and threw this woman into the crowd. That's annoying enough as it is, isn't it? But she's also his daughter. They're exposing her to everybody. How cruel. Yet Jesus takes a pause. They were trying to trap Jesus as well. It wasn't just the woman that they were using to cause a kerfuffle and an angry situation. No, they were using and abusing her probably even more than the man she'd just been having adultery with. But Jesus, well, they were using him too. They wanted to trap him and cause trouble for him. Jesus practices the pause, writes in the sand, perhaps to say, "Look, I made the law." And with great patience, even though the woman has done the thing that the law says not to do, and we would all agree hurts many people when there's adultery, he doesn't respond angrily. He doesn't even say, "Yes, you're right, she's wrong." He doesn't even join in that conversation where they've come and said, "Jesus, look what she's doing." I've often been known to say, "I don't mean this nastily," or "I'm just telling you so you can pray," but all those things I have been so wrong in. I should never spread someone else's sin. I should never be looking down on people or snooping around or passing on things that are not fair to pass on, even if the person's wrong. Jesus doesn't join in. He doesn't say, "Look, I know she did wrong, but..." No. He stands up and he says, "If any of you don't have sin, well, you can accuse her." One by one, they all leave. It's funny, isn't it? The oldest first, because the older you get, the more you're meant to realize that you don't know, that you're not perfect, and that you can't accuse others. He bends down and says to the lady, "Where are your accusers now?" And looking up, she realizes there's none of them. In that moment of absolute relief, Jesus says to her, "I don't accuse you either. Go away and sin no more." Great love does not spread the offense. Great love does not nitpick at the person. Great love covers an offense, and that is our own offenses too. Are you nitpicking at yourself? Are you getting at yourself because you may have even broken Lent already? Are you persecuting yourself and holding yourself to a standard that even God doesn't? Now, don't get me wrong, he says, "Go away and sin no more." But it wasn't, "Go away and sin no more, or you'll be back here and we will stone you." No, I don't accuse you either. Jesus doesn't accuse you. Stop accusing yourself. Jesus doesn't accuse you. Stop accusing others. Jesus doesn't accuse us, but his desire for us, with great patience, is that we don't sin anymore, because it does lead to death, and it does lead to pain, and it does lead to heartache. But notice, he wrote the law, but he practices the pause. with you, and his word is always, I don't accuse you, but go away and sin no more. We want evil to stop. We want that which we do that hurts us to end. We want to get to the point with his power and his grace and his mercy and his help that we don't do those things. Absolutely. But he never said he condemned you. No, he's with you in every moment of the process, and he loves you. Where are your accusers now? Look up. Jesus doesn't accuse you either, and we can't accuse each other. Lots of love, guys. Speak to you soon.